everyone, and welcome to the inaugural 2026 edition episode of the Blue Sedition podcast. I'm your host, Nate Brady, alongside
A very merry Mike Smith, everybody. Happy New
merry.
Year to you.
Oh, what do we have to be merry about? Can you tell me
We
that?
got all sorts to be merry about.
I got nothing to be merry about.
Think about it. I mean, think about all the money we're going to make from all that oil.
Oh, the Venezuelan oil.
Yeah.
How could I
Americans
forget?
are definitely going to see that, right?
Listen, guys, a lot has happened since I think it's been some time. We had some stuff happening in the holidays and all of that stuff, so we haven't been around for a little while, but we're back and we're gonna bring you some of the hottest maybe that's not the right word, some of the latest news. And let's just dive right into it.
We gotta
Mike, what's going on? What's going on out there?
We doing coups again?
We're doing coups.
Make America coup again?
Okay, so what do you mean again? I mean, that's just what America does, right?
Well, but we stopped for a while. I mean, what was so
tell the people what you're talking about.
I actually don't know the date that it happened. Do you know what day it happened? I have no notes on it, but the United States basically performed a bombardment of Venezuela and Caracas, the capital. And under the cover of this seeming attack, a SEAL team went in and captured their president and his wife and brought them back to the United States to face charges in a country they do not live. It's like extradition, except the country didn't agree to it. And in fact, it's against UN policy for anybody to do this. But that's the high level.
Yeah, I mean, and so there's a whole, oh my God, there's a whole plethora of stuff to talk about here. Trump obviously said the quiet parts out loud, which he does, and nothing ever happens from him doing that. But he basically said, we're gonna go take the oil because the oil is for some reason ours. The oil on their land is for some reason ours. So he said that part out loud. He also said that the United States will effectively run Venezuela during the transition period. And I want to talk about, I think it's important to address, even though they're idiotic, all of the talking points, because I feel like the right-leaning media gets a lot of its talking points from X versus the other way around. So like when something happens, there's a whole big, what's the word I'm looking for? Echo chamber.
Yeah.
X that builds up a narrative, and kind of the strongest narrative takes hold. And then that's what's kind of run with. Elon runs with it, Trump runs with it, and therefore the media runs with it, right? And so one of the things that people are claiming, and that Trump and Elon is claiming, is that the Venezuelan people are so thrilled about this, right? Because obviously Maduro is a brutal leader, right?
He's a fascist in his own right. They've held several general elections in the last few years where he's, like Putin, gotten like 98% of the vote and killed his political ally or political rivals, or jailed them, or kept certain voter blocks from being able to actually vote. So I mean, it's a banana republic.
So we know that one of the first things that happened after Gravy Boat Team 6 or whatever went in there and kidnapped the alleged president, whatever, fine, he's been running it since 2013, and his wife, is that the Venezuelan Supreme Court and their body swore in Maduro's VP as acting president, right?
Right.
So essentially nothing really changed for the Venezuelan people, except for, well, two things. It's more unstable there. Infrastructure was damaged. Civilians were killed. And people are being arrested. The few people that are out in the streets celebrating, like X wants us to believe, are actually being arrested because there has been no change as far as the political rule, the political class that is ruling Venezuela right now. So,
Right.
so what? I mean, what did we do effectively?
I mean, we took away their their talking head. Imagine it was the same thing except in the United States and some other country had come in and captured Trump. I don't think it changes any of the dynamics of the controlling party, which is the Republicans at the moment, right?
Right.
They're still gonna be, doing what they're doing.
Does it
It
stop
doesn't change.
ICE from doing what they're doing? Does it stop?
No.
You know,
In fact, I think most Republicans would be like, "Oh, you captured him. Okay," and then they would move on with their day because I don't think most Republicans actually like him. And without him being able to be in power, they'd be like, "Oh, that's better. It's better this way."
yeah. So, I mean, yeah, what would happen? JD Vance would just become president, right? So it's essentially the same thing is going on in Venezuela right now. Now, Trump and Marco Rubio have made threats to the current leaders of Venezuela, saying, if you don't get in line, what's the things that are going to happen to you are going to be much worse than what happened to Maduro, whatever that means. I mean, I think they're basically saying we'll execute you.
Yeah, I mean, this is all so crazy to me because it's so blatantly like a declaration of war without actual Congress approval. I don't know how you can read it any other way, right? I'm threatening another country. I'm going to steal their sovereign natural resources with this. Like that's war. What are we talking about?
I mean, it's unreal. And, there, of course, again, the talking heads on the other side are like, oh, I thought you guys didn't like kings. I thought what happened to no kings, blah, blah, blah. This isn't the point. I think we all agree. You're not going to find liberals out there that are like, Maduro was a good guy. Nobody's saying that.
No one has ever said that. And it harkens back
No.
to like the early stages of George W. Bush's when we were like, oh, so you don't like, you don't want us to go to war, but you don't like fascists and blah blah blah. I'm like, it's the same. You can be two things. He could be a bad guy and a fascist. Like you don't have to go into that country.
No, they cannot understand that there can be two things happening at the same time. It's
That's
something very difficult for them. Yeah, it's hard. So, I mean, I don't know what else to say about this other than, and hopefully when Congress is back in session, well, I mean, they've already said that they're going to vote on, a war powers resolution. But, I mean, first of all, it's a little too late for that,
Yeah, I mean, this is so bizarre because they've gotten to the point where, he's obviously just violating the Constitution, and they don't like. What do you care? What are we going to do about it? That's where we're at right now. The Republicans are like, I'm not going to do anything about it. Go ahead, violate the Constitution. It doesn't matter to me.
It's completely insane because these people who were yelling in our faces about we don't want hawkish Hillary Clinton. It needs to be America first now. We need to stop meddling in other countries. They can't even do America first right.
No, I mean, they're just liars. Everything that they say is a lie.
It's lies all the way down. Speaking of lies, so we had some breaking news this morning. I can transition to anything by saying
you sure
speaking
can.
of lies.
Speaking of lies,
yes. Who knows what story I'm going to bring up next? This morning, an ICE agent in Minneapolis, Minnesota, executed a woman, from what we can tell from the video, which we are not going to play on the podcast. A woman who was apparently an observer, a legal observer to a situation happening. I don't know whether ICE was attempting to arrest somebody or ICE was gathering at a certain location. She was parked in the middle of a street. She had ICE officers screaming at her to leave, and then other ICE officers attempting to open the door to drag her out. It was a very confusing situation. And this American citizen, who was clearly nervous and also afraid for her life, decided it would be in her best interest to get the hell out of there, which was what some of the ICE agents had been telling her to do. So she started to drive off, and she kind of made like a sharp right-hand turn to get out of the way and away from ICE officers attempting to open her door. On the other side of her was an ICE officer that I wouldn't say, I mean, y'all can watch the videos for yourselves. I wouldn't say was even standing in front of her car, but was sort of to the side of her car, pulled out his firearm and shot her several times point blank through the window, killing her. And you can see in the video her car then, it rolls forward, slams into another car. People are screaming, lots of chaos. The officer who shot the woman appears completely fine. He wasn't hit by the car. He wasn't injured. So this is what happened. Before we dive into what the hell does all of this mean, I want to share this message from our pedophile president, our president, Donald Trump, that reads, I have just viewed the clip of the event which took place in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It is a horrible thing to watch. The woman screaming was obviously a professional agitator, and the woman driving the car was very disorderly, obstructing and resisting, who then violently, willfully, and viciously, all three of those things, ran over the ICE officer who seems to have shot her in self-defense. We don't know what video he's watching. Based on the attached clip, it is hard to believe he is alive, but is now recovering in the hospital. The situation is being studied in its entirety, but the reason these incidents are happening is because the radical left is threatening, assaulting, and targeting our law enforcement officers and ICE agents on a daily basis. They are just trying to do the job of making America safe. We need to stand by and protect our law enforcement officers from this radical left movement of violence and hate. President Donald J. Trump. Mike, your response.
Good fucking God.
I think that's the correct response.
So they've identified the woman. The driver is named Renee Nicole Good. There are several vantage points and videos of the incident, and I'm not going to link any of them. We're not going to put them in the show notes. You guys are welcome to look for such things, and be warned, they are very graphic. At no point were any ICE officers ever in danger or injured.
No.
The videos very clearly show an officer standing toward the front left of the vehicle, as from the driver's perspective, and not touching the car. You can see his feet away from the car, and the driver is trying to turn the car away from him. And then you can see him pull out his gun and unload several shots into the car and through the driver's side window as she's trying to escape. It's a clear-cut assassination for no good reason.
I mean,
if this guy felt like his life was in danger, then he needs to quit this job. And frankly, I think he needs to be tried for murder and probably set to death, because this is just very, very cut and dried.
Okay, so I think there's... Oh, all right. Wow. There's a lot here. First, I will say the same thing that happened with January 6th and with the murder of George Floyd is you have this kind of bubble, like we just talked about earlier, this echo, this narrative on X, especially coming from Trump's statement here. Kristi Noem said that the driver characterized the woman's actions as a act of domestic terrorism, which is insane. You have that bubble and you have that narrative coming from the president and his goons all the way down. But what you'll find in real life, just with January 6th and Derek, what was his name, Chauvin, and all of those other murderers, is that once it gets in front of a grand jury and the grand jury looks at that evidence, that bubble, that nonsense, that's gone. They will move to indict this guy, and this guy will be convicted of murder. Mark me right now. January 7th, 2 p.m. Is when we're recording this right now. This man will be tried and convicted of murder. I have no doubt in my mind.
It's unbelievable, the things. So I've said it a lot on this podcast, and I think that I'm just going to keep saying it until it stops being true. But we live in a post-truth society, right, where, like you're talking about, this echo chamber, this bubble is of people who just want that to be true. They want that there was this radical leftist who tried to run down this heroic ICE agent, and the ICE agent pulled his gun and
saved the earth,
stopped the attack,
saved
or whatever.
Yeah.
Saved America
from this
made
domestic
it safe.
terrorist.
And they don't look at the video, they don't look at the photographs, they don't look at the evidence. They just want their side to be right, and so they'll champion that. I want to believe, there's some people out here who just are ignorant and proud, rather than like the Kristi Noems and the Donald Trumps of the world who are vindictive and evil. I guarantee you there will be people on the right who have not seen the videos, have not looked at the evidence, and will do this. And I just think they're ignorant. And then you'll have Kristi Noem and Donald Trump who have seen the videos and will lie to your face. Right. They'll say, she tried to run that man over as she was going away from him. And you're like, that's not in the world. That's not real. What you're saying is provably false from several different vantage points. We have a neighbor on the stoop. We've got a Nest Cam and somebody else's like upper eaves that records like for packages and stuff. There's a ton of videos out there. So a person just doing selfies, like watching this whole thing happen. And you can see very clearly that none of the ICE agents were ever in danger, except maybe one of the ICE agents, because he was pretty close to the other ICE agent while he was murdering the woman. He could have been shot like collaterally, that's the dangerous part of his job.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, being around a bunch of untrained, armed, jackbooted thugs is pretty dangerous.
But it's the same problem that you're going to have now, right? We live in the post-truth society, and like you said, they're going to indict this guy. He's going to be tried and probably convicted of murder, and then he's going to get pardoned by the president because
most likely
doesn't care, and he wants it. He wants the people to believe the narrative of this man is being, targeted by the radical left judges and the
right.
Dude, he's feeling very early stages of Germany pre-World War II here, where just like, don't believe your eyes.
No, I think we're mid stages.
Got the jackbooted thugs out there taking over the world.
And then there are a lot of people, and you wonder, one of the questions everyone asks is, how did those who live in Germany kind of let that happen? And we just see people on the right, just because it's their team.
Yeah, because it's their team.
Just kissing the ass of the state that is willing to go out there and murder innocent people. And they're going, well, I voted for Donald Trump, so this has to be okay.
Right.
This is what I voted for. You voted for murdering people, murdering innocent American citizens. And I hate to keep qualifying it. I've seen it in several ways. You'll look at all of the posts, even from prominent people on the left. They'll qualify it as innocent American citizen, blah, blah, blah. You don't have to qualify it. Even if that was an illegal immigrant.
Killing Americans. I don't ask for much.
Yeah. I mean, you don't murder anybody in the middle of the street like that, especially all those bystanders. I mean, it is insane. It is literally insane. And as you pointed out, Trump made this ridiculous statement, which we still have up, and he posted the video, which directly contradicts every single thing he said, right? Kristi Noem goes out and says, domestic terrorism, blah, blah, blah. Thankfully, both the Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey and Governor Tim Walz have come out and said the DHS narrative is nonsense and, quote, bullshit, which is one of the reasons why I love Tim Walz. I hate that he's not running for a third term, because this is the guy that will come out there and say, are you fucking kidding me? That's bullshit. And that's what Americans need to hear. Like, just plain and simple. No more of this dancing around nonsense that the Chuck Schumers do. Like, well, we're going to look into it. It's possible that blah, blah, blah. No, this is fucking bullshit. And we gotta put an end to this.
And we're not going to stand for it anymore.
We're not going to stand for it anymore. And that's what we need more of. We definitely need more of that. And so point being, though, is that DHS and Trump are saying one thing. We can see with our own eyes what's true. I believe when it gets to a grand jury, hopefully it gets that far, they'll move to indict and he'll be convicted. My only caveat to that is, in a interview, I think I forget who was asked, somebody at MPD was asked, whose investigation is this? And MPD said, actually, we're just here to secure the scene. It's now in the FBI's jurisdiction. That makes me a little bit worried because, we have a clown show for the FBI, but at least Tim Walz has also said, the state is also going to be involved in investigating this. So even if there aren't federal charges, hopefully there will be state charges brought against this ICE officer who you can't just walk into it. You can't walk into a state and a city and murder people. You just can't do it. That's what I got.
Well, and at the very least, this guy's never going to know peace again. He's been captured on video and pictures, and there's very good quality of that. And so the internet's going to do what the internet's going to do. And I would be surprised if we don't learn his name in the coming hours, basically. And well, then we don't have his name yet. I did share some pictures that you could probably post up there. And like, it's pretty, I think that this is the type of thing that you can find this person pretty quickly, because they're clearly up in a gate, like they're gated up, but I don't think you're ever gonna completely erase yourself like that.
No, they'll find him. I'm sure the internet is working on it right now. They probably already have.
Right, and then the state will have some ability to make requests for information on officers and things like that involved, and get mugshots, not mugshots, but like security shots, like for their badges and stuff, and they'll be able to put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah, I mean, bottom line is we have these masked, jackbooted thugs who are armed and untrained. I mean, we already have quote unquote trained police officers that don't know how to de-escalate situations. Now we've got a group of 8 guys together. Some are yelling at her to leave, some are trying to open her door, some have their guns drawn for this woman in her mid-30s in a minivan, or forget what she was driving. But I mean, what is happening here? This is insane. Okay, before we move to any other stories, I want to backtrack a little bit to the Maduro thing, because I forgot to mention something that I wanted to mention, which was this poly market. So we've talked about poly market in the past. I think I even did a short on it at one point. But poly market is this I forget the proper term for it, but it allows
gambling site.
Huh?
Gambling site.
Yeah, it is a gambling site. A prediction market. It says it literally right here. It's a quote unquote prediction market that lets you kind of trade shares of an event either happening or not happening with other users on the site, right?
Right.
And shortly before, I think it was the night before.
It was like when choppers were in the air.
Right. Somebody on Polymarket, some user who is listed here, they bet $30,000 that Maduro would exit Venezuela, would no longer be the president. I forget what the exact title of the trade was. And then hours later, the prediction resolved in their favor, netting them $436,000. So $32,000 bet is what they made in this brand new account. Joined December 2025. You can see on the screen, kind of in light gray. They made a $30,000 bet that Maduro would exit hours before his exit, and they made $500,000.
Oh man. Insider trading gets a lot easier when you stop regulating every single money market there is.
So first of all, to be fair, quote unquote fair, I believe Polymarket is a non-US trading site. I don't think you can be a United States citizen. I'm sure I could probably sign up for an account right now. It's very easy for us to figure that out.
Right.
So it's supposed to be some foreign person did this. They're using Bitcoin. They're using whatever. They signed up. They made a bet. They had a huge win. Now they can withdraw that. It's so clearly Pete Hegseth or somebody in the in the Department of War.
I was gonna say it's Nancy Pelosi, but I mean Hegseth's a good bet too.
I mean, hey, there's precedent for it being Nancy Pelosi, so it's hard for me to argue with you on that one.
Near as I can tell, one of the only perks about being an elected official is you just get to do insider trading whenever you want. Because nobody ever loses a campaign on that.
Yeah. I talked briefly with you, Mike, about it as being people that are both in tech. Like, I feel like we should just be scraping these sites for when a brand new account is created and puts a decent sized bet on one of these things, and then either also put a bet on it somehow legally. I don't know. Call my friends overseas or start reporting on the news, because so that's the interesting other part, is there were news outlets that were sitting on this story.
Yeah, allegedly. I mean, have any of them come out? I read that there was like a whistleblower at WAPO that said that they were told that something was happening in Venezuela and don't report on anything you hear because it could endanger the lives of agents involved. And I don't think that they had any specifics more than that. Do you have more information?
I don't. That was the last that I heard of it too. And I mean, I believe it.
I would believe it, but it's just the way that it was phrased in the version that I read seemed very hand wavy, as like something's going to happen maybe in Venezuela. Don't talk about Venezuela for the next couple hours.
I don't know. If that were me and I had a couple grand in the bank that I could move quickly onto Poly Market, maybe.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe
that's it, right?
Jake Tapper or whoever just made a good. Sorry.
Fantastic. Okay, let's move on. You have another story listed here that we want to talk about.
We don't have to. We can. You want to talk about it?
We can talk about this.
I think it's more of an economics topic, whereas we tend to stick with mainly, maybe it's political economics. But...
Oh no, it's definitely political. Because there's some things here that I find really interesting as well. So Trump, in his infinite wisdom and his randomness, just tweet stuff into law. And today he said, and I don't have the post in front of me, but today he said that he will ban Wall Street and corporations from investing in and buying up single family homes. I think he said something like people live in homes, not corporations, was something that he said in his. Now, you know what? If this came from Bernie Sanders, I would be like, yeah, this is great. Like,
sure.
And this is probably something that Bernie Sanders has said at some point in time.
Almost assuredly.
Which people on the right would lose their goddamn minds over, and then they would defend, hey, I got enough Red Sox hats. And they would defend they would defend come hell or high water. So what do you think about this? Let's just
So I mean, there's a lot to be said about, obviously the housing market for new first-time buyers is just awful. Like the wages versus home prices is ridiculous and has been growing in the wrong directions for many, many decades at this point. Our parents' generation were able to scrape together a living with the wages that they had to put a down payment on a house and eventually pay it off in many cases. But like this generation or even our generation, really, it's kind of like an impossibility unless you get just absolutely the most luck ever, or you're willing to live in places that are less desirable. Obviously you can go buy a house down in the swamps that's going to get hit by the hurricanes every year, and you maybe can afford that, but you can't afford the insurance and you can't afford the commute, and there's so much that goes into it. But the other side of it is that we've been hearing for at least the last decade about entities, because they don't really go into who it is, buying up American real estate from overseas, mainly from Chinese firms, right?
We'll call them large institutional investors, I think.
Right. And they go under the pretext of being an individual. And then when you actually start looking at how the payments are coming in and where the banking information is coming, it's all coming from corporations out of China. And so that was mainly during the big Airbnb era what, 8 years ago, thereabouts. But after that, you start seeing hedge funds like BlackRock and some of these other growth focused institutions, investment institutions, buying up not just the debt of mortgages, but also houses themselves as equity to line against their other mortgages. So you think about the problem that we had in The Big Short, where you had these subprime loans being shoved into packages with prime loans, where it turned out that none of those loans were actually very good. Well, BlackRock's doing the opposite. They're just buying homes against the debts that they're purchasing as well, and packaging them together so that they'll offset each other to mitigate risk.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're buying homes and you're buying mortgage debt. What are you doing with these homes? And the answer is nothing. They're just holding them.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I do want to point out that it is only a fairly small percentage. I won't say it's negligible, but it is fairly small percentage of homes that are currently owned by Blackstone linked entities, right?
Right.
And what some on the left are saying is that okay, this is good. Okay, you can't, even a broken clock is right twice, twice a day, whatever, right? However, this doesn't actually solve the problem. So will it drop? Will it lower housing prices? Hard to say. If it's only 2, 3, 4% of the market, first of all, already owned by these institutional investors.
Yeah, what do you do? You're going to do it.
Sell them? Does that
mean TikTok style must sell?
So there's that. But then the whole point is, what we need is broader supply side, and affordability measures. Like, that's what we need to work on, because it's not necessarily that there's a huge problem with institutional investors. It's still a problem, but we have zoning problems, we have building problems, supply, all that supply side stuff, all the affordability side stuff. Interest rates are, but you tell me I can get, okay, now the $700,000 home that I was looking at is now $655,000. Great. I still can't pay 8% interest on that.
Right.
I mean, that's just insane. So there's still issues that we have to deal with, but I want to take a quick step back and point out that this is now the second kind of, I would call, good thing that Trump has kind of just thrown against the wall since it was, called out that he was in the Epstein files and he's a pedophile and he hurts children.
Sure.
What the first was that he was urging he created an executive order to urge the attorney general to reschedule marijuana. So,
yeah.
So yeah, that's great. Guess what? That just made the news for a day, and it tried to move, tried to get eyes off of him and Epstein, right?
Right.
And is it actually going to happen? I don't know. Probably unlikely. The same thing here is he's taking steps through the executive branch to urge Congress to codify a ban.
Some new law,
Exactly. So again, this is just Trump throwing something out there in a tweet. He's getting some backlash, obviously, from the very wealthy investors on his side, the same way he got huge backlash from the Christian nationalists and Republicans on the marijuana rescheduling. It's very unlikely that either of these things are going to happen while he's in office. And the only reason why I'm saying that is because I made a post the other day that said something to the effect of, I do not want to hear Democrats, if they regain power, ever say that you cannot do one thing or another because of political backlash or whatever. Apparently, you can just do whatever you want. So if Donald Trump says that he's pushing for a reschedule of marijuana, why have we been why have Democrats been running on this for 20 years and not doing anything about it? Just do it through executive order. Tell your attorney general, who will then be a left-leaning attorney general, to reschedule marijuana. Done. You can do that in 3 hours. Next item on the list. Don't tell me that we have to. Well, we're working on healthcare right now. We're working on Obamacare. That's going to take about 6 years. During that time, we have no political capital.
We'll lose the House.
Yeah, we have no political capital to do anything else except focus on Obamacare. So that's all you're going to get.
Especially for things like this where you don't need laws to be written. It's a schedule in a narcotics law that you control.
Yeah.
Just change it. You don't even need an executive. Don't just just tweet it.
Well,
be like it's no days, it's no schedule. It's schedule 4. I'm gonna make up a new one.
In the old days, Mike,
you're cool. That's it.
In the old days,
have to like say, well, you're cool.
Listen. In the old days, you couldn't just go to the attorney general as the president and say, you're going to do this thing.
Why?
Well, you couldn't do that back in the old days because there's a separation of these branches. I don't know if you knew about that. That's the judicial branch. Okay.
What you do is you send them you hit them up on Signal.
Oh, it's on Signal.
And you say,
well, first you
schedule it.
Reporters.
Reschedule it.
Yeah.
Or some of my devotees are going to erect a guillotine in your lawn next week. So
what would normally happen is that would have to go through Congress, right? And Congress would say, all right, we're going to do this. And then the judicial branch would then follow the new laws, right? But now you can just text the guy. Congress isn't even a thing anymore. I mean, we don't have time. We're gonna wrap here in a few minutes. We don't have time to talk about how Congress isn't even a thing. They shouldn't even come back.
They shouldn't. They just shouldn't.
Why are we bothering with Congress? That is the legislative branch seems pretty useless now. Am I wrong on that?
No, you're completely right. I mean, nobody wants to do their job. Nobody's abiding by the laws, and we're just sitting around going, well, what can you do?
Well, they want to do their jobs so long as it makes them any amount of money.
And you know what the most annoying thing? Everything's terrible. Let me start from there, and I'll say it's not the most, but it's part of the whole soup of annoying stuff, is that if and when the Democrats regain power, they're going to look at this and be like, that's the way not to do it. We can't do that because that's what the psychopaths do. We're gonna be like, can you just reschedule marijuana? Because it's such a simple thing. Like, just make an executive order like Trump did it. That's not the right way to do it. The right way to do it is to get Chuck to whip the votes. And we're gonna be sitting around doing nothing through filibusters forever and ever.
Listen, I'll trade you marijuana for, and this is what legitimately will probably happen. I'll trade you reschedule of marijuana for more ICE funding, more Border Patrol funding, they'll give everything to the minority, assuming Democrats ever regain control of the House and the legislative branch. Yeah. This is what Democrats do. They give you a little nibble while for some reason they give the minority everything. This can no longer happen. We're seeing in real time what Republicans are willing to do when they are in the majority. So
yeah, and they're building a military state at the same time. I mean, they're just building this militia in ICE that will only answer to the right. And you're just like, stop giving them money, shut the government down so that they don't get paid anymore. I don't understand what we're doing here. Why are you going along with this?
So it's
there are people working. They need their paychecks. There are people who are gonna.
And we'll see.
I don't care.
We'll see. I mean, guys, it's gonna be an exciting year. It's an election year. It's a big election year. Midterms are coming up, and we will see what happens if the Democrats can overcome, the
themselves.
Well, if they can overcome themselves, but if they can also beat Trump, probably canceling mail-in voting for every state, finding ways to interfere with the midterms. We'll see what Democrats can do if we take back the legislative branch. I say we, I don't really feel the we in that, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Mike, do you have anything else for us before we leave? We're going to do kind of a short one today. We just kind of get back into the swing of things here.
Yeah, you don't want to, you don't want to just get off the couch and run a marathon. You want to ease yourself back in.
We're going to ease back into this. It's going to be a big year. Mike, I think you and I think we're going to do some stuff this year we're going to do some stuff this year. Blue Sedition we're going to be out there. We're going to build some tools. I probably even for the midterms. Mike, you know what I'm thinking.
I know it.
Yeah. Okay. So stay tuned. There's going to be a lot of exciting stuff coming in this next year. We're just going to do the same things and go out there and put things in front of you. Make sure that we share as much important, valid information as possible. So please follow us on our Blue Sky accounts. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. Do that thing. We're not going anywhere. We're going to keep fighting. And I just want to say before we sign off how proud I am or how, I don't know, excited is the wrong word, but there were people out there that saw that shooting in Minneapolis. There were bystanders that were out there yelling at ICE and then saw that shooting, and they didn't hightail it out of there.
No, they doubled down.
They doubled down. They closed in on them. Guys, this is what we need to keep doing. We need to keep doubling down. This won't last forever. So as long as we don't put our tail between our legs and run away, we're going to take our country back. I don't like that slogan, but
this too shall pass.
Yeah. Nevertheless.
But you gotta fight.
You gotta fight. Don't stop fighting. And it's easy for me and Mike to say, as two white middle-aged guys with our headphones on here. But I will say, both of us have been out protesting. Both of us have been out knocking on doors. We have done it in the past. We will continue to do it. We urge you to call your congressman, to write letters, to talk to your neighbors, get people to vote, register people, all of that stuff. And we're going to look at ways in the coming weeks and months to help make it a little easier for you to do all those things. So thanks for listening to the Blue Sedition podcast. I'm Nate Brady.
I'm Mike Smith.
And we'll see you next time.